That's right. It's Bad Weather Fans, episode number 297. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. NBA trade deadline 6 days away on Thursday, February the 5th. Nets losers last night to the Denver Nuggets, 107-103 in Denver. Good contested game. Michael Porter Jr. goes for 38. And the Knicks have won 4 straight. I knew that the Nets would jumpstart their season again. Happens every fucking year. They have good road wins versus the Raptors and Sixers, and then the 2 home wins, as I mentioned, the Nets and also versus the Sacramento Kings. Giannis Antetokounmpo requested that he wanted to get traded. Will it happen this year? Will it happen in the offseason? We're all kind of waiting to find out. And then on the Nets side, they're officially in the tank zone, closing in on the worst record in the NBA. But when they have losses like they did yesterday, it's kind of the way you want it to go. Half their rosters out anyway. Alex, good morning.
Good
It
morning.
is Friday, 6 days before the deadline. What's up, man?
Is it Friday? It is. That's exciting. Yeah, a lot of Giannis news coming in, trickling in slowly. Yes. A lot of the Nets news trickling in slowly with Michael Porter Jr. Ian Begley said that's probably going to happen on WFAN on Evan's show and Evan and Tiki show, excuse me. And it's probably going to happen. And I think the Giannis stuff is going to happen. I wrote a whole thing on my Twitter at Knicks Central about why I think it's going to happen. All different connected all the dots. You can check that out. I just think it's going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if, for the Knicks getting Giannis, and it's a matter of how much they will give up and what teams will get involved. Blazers like Mikal Bridges all of a sudden. Pelicans have the Bucks picks so they can tank. So there's a lot going in there, and then all of a sudden the Knicks are interested in Jose Alvarado and Messi and these guys that are available. You connect all the dots, and then Anthony Davis is wants to be traded from the Mavericks, and he's represented by Rich Paul, who Rich Paul also went out and said, hey, Giannis, if you can't get traded to the team you want, sign with me and I'll get you traded to the team you want. And it just, you connect all these dots, and like the Bucks can't tank if they get Towns, but they can tank if they get Anthony Davis because he's always hurt. And then the Mavericks get a nice little squad of Towns, Kyrie, and Flag. And, so there's all these little moving pieces all around. And, you can put my tin cap on if you want, my tinfoil hat, I guess is what you say. But I think it's legitimate. I think that the Knicks and Bucks talked over the offseason. I had a 2-week window of talking, and exclusive 2-week window of talking a Giannis trade. We talked about that many times, and that's well documented, and the fact that they did. So Giannis clearly said he wants the Knicks. So like all these other rumors and all these other things are just irrelevant to me. Giannis is just trying to play the good guy card, like kind of like Dwight Howard did with the Magic years ago. And it's just, you never win. Like you just have to, if you want to go, you have to say, I want to go, and be the bad guy. And that's just what it is.
Yeah, and because he's been hurt, or air quotes hurt, even if he's not traded this year, he's essentially going to miss the rest of the season, whatever that means. Now, if he was traded to another team, especially let's say the Knicks in this example, who are going for a championship, he's not going to he's going to miss time. He's hurt, and he's shown that he's injury prone now a little bit, which you could label a red flag and be a little bit more concerned. But obviously, he's going to play. If the Knicks trade for him and he doesn't, they're going to be dealing away a lot of assets, so they can't win a championship. With whatever goes out, it would be impossible because, well, they're going to lose half their team and they need him to play for that to happen. I don't know. You said they were talking over the summer. You and I have talked about this a lot, but I think it's pretty clear that if Mikal Bridges was never dealt, this trade already happened. They just don't have the assets to do it, so they have to get all of these third teams involved, which you just talked about and laid out. And it is doable, right? There is a path and a window. There is a path to make it happen, but it's not an easy one. It's an easier one in the summer when Giannis can really dictate where he wants to go and can change the whole dynamics of it. And picks and assets, the Knicks have more picks that they can give up because it's the next season ahead. So that's something that could entice the Milwaukee Bucks. But until then, I think we just have to sit and wait. I wouldn't be surprised at any and all options right now if they happen. If he's traded, if Cat's dealt, if he stays in Milwaukee, there's a lot going on and a lot can change quickly. And it's going to be a really wild couple of days until we find out, what happens. The Knicks have always been very quiet behind the scenes. They're going to continue to do that. The Knicks are on a 4-game winning streak, but I think it's been publicly documented. And I think anybody knows that there's something a little icky there in the locker room and with Karl Anthony Towns in particular. So what happens, where they go, you had a lot of dots to connect, which does make it difficult when there's that many moving pieces involved to make a trade happen. It's not easy. And if other teams, we don't know if Giannis is if he's exclusive with the Knicks. I think there's no guarantee that it happens at the deadline. If he isn't, I think he could go to a lot of other places. Excuse me. And I think we just a wait and see approach. I don't buy any of the reports coming out of this camp and that camp. Chris Haynes had a note that the Nets might be interested. Well, I think any team's going to at least give a call. I think the Nets, of course, are just going to call.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, you have to call.
But costs you nothing to make a phone call.
Then the Bucks. I mean, I don't know. Probably not. It's not long distance, so they should be good. Not to collect call.
Does that matter anymore? Yeah,
I think you're okay. But the Nets, they probably call the Bucks, and the Bucks' first thing they would say is, "We want this year's your first round pick this year," which the Nets in no circumstance can trade because it's going to be a really good value draft pick, right? It could be the number one pick. You can't trade it. So I think from the Nets' perspective, doesn't make any sense. But you at least have to call and see what they say. Right. I think it's just a wait and see approach, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's not traded. I wouldn't be shocked if he is. I think with Giannis, it's not like other guys were like, he's gone. It's not like Trae Young where you knew it was over. Don't be surprised if he sits there and rots on the bench for 4 months.
I don't know. I think it's over because it came out
over for this season where he's just a statue on the bench because he's quote hurt, and then he's dealt in the offseason. The report did say that.
I can't see Giannis wasting an entire year of his prime and just sitting out. And he's too powerful of a player in this league. And it's a player's league. And when you get to this level, you literally could do what you want. Like Durant said, I want to go to the Suns in the middle of the season and went to the Suns. So it literally is. To me, it's over. There was that report recent, like this week or early last week, end of last week was that what do you? I'm sorry, this comment caught me off guard from
was my audio bad?
BKN 85. I thought Mike was lost at sea. Our boy Brooklyn Nets.
My Twitter,
because your Twitter's gone, so you're lost.
I was like, is my audio bad? I have anxiety. The audio is bad. Yeah, I don't have Twitter anymore, so it is what it is. I'm trying to get it back, but whatever.
What I was saying is that when a guy's that talented and that powerful and that big of a player, he's gonna go where he wants. And Knicks and Towns are ready for a divorce. Towns was insulted that they tried to trade him this offseason, but it was only for Giannis. I mean, if you don't understand that you're not Giannis, then you need to look in the mirror. Towns been also, I don't think he's the biggest Mike Brown fan. That's been well documented, and Brown takes shots at him, and even Clyde Frazier's been taking shots at him on the broadcast. And when that stuff starts happening and it starts to leak into the broadcast, and I'm not saying that nobody's telling Clyde Frazier what to say on a broadcast. He's too prestigious to be told what to do. But he it's just his feelings. He's not holding back because he doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? He's old enough and he's the last champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy. So he can say what he wants about any Knicks player. Nobody can argue with him. And for him to start calling him out, like, where is he? Why is he not back on defense? Things like that, and all these clips that are going viral every time he says something. I think it's over. I think Towns, it's over. I think Giannis is getting traded before a deadline, and it's going to be to the Knicks. I think it doesn't matter what the Bucks want. It doesn't matter if other teams, like I said in my post at Knicks Central that I already referenced, a team like the Hornets can call and say, hey, we got more. But why would the Bucks want to trade an unhappy Giannis to the Hornets, and why would the Hornets want an unhappy Giannis? Like, what would that do for them? And then you trade up all these assets for this player, and then on top of that, the agencies will get pissed off because now you're not going to get a future, free agent or trade or help in a draft or anything like that with any of these players' clients. And that's how these agencies have so much power, because it's like, we're not going to help you down the road if you don't help us now. So why would a team like the Hornets, the Nets, just any team that has the assets to get him, why would they do that if, it's going to hurt them on the short term and the long term? It just doesn't make sense. That's why these kinds of players at this level have no trade clauses, even if they don't have a no trade clause officially. So
I guess the question would be, does Giannis want to go to another team besides the Knicks? There's other teams that are contending. You use the example of the Nets and Hornets. Yeah, they're not in the championship conversation. So
right, but I'm saying because they have the assets. They have the assets on paper. This would make sense. Here's all your picks.
What if the Sixers called them and said, this is what we got? We'll give you VJ Edgecombe. We'll give you the 2 Clippers picks that are coming up in a couple years, and we'll use Paul George as the trade.
Because Giannis doesn't want to go there.
But what if he? But I'm saying, what if he does?
Then that changes everything.
Right, exactly.
It's about where he wants to go. He wants to go to the Knicks, and that's the point.
Right. But did he open up his trade applications beyond
we don't
the
know.
Knicks? I think that's what we'll find out in the next 6 days. If he goes to the Knicks, you're right. I think you're right. But like BKN85 says, what if Giannis says, okay, I'll play with Steph and they can make it happen? I'm not saying it's as good of a fit because Steph's 37 and I don't think it exactly works. But I'm just saying,
then what are you going to do?
You don't know what he wants to do.
I mean, like, what is that why would the Bucks want to do that?
It's about if they're going to get all the Warrior pick back later, like that has a tremendous value. But if you're rebuilding and you don't have your own picks, do the Warrior picks? I know we make fun of it because it's in 2030, 2032, 2034. But that's how it worked. We're at 2026. We're close enough.
I know.
It's not that far away.
Yeah, it sounds far, but it's not.
In 2007, if you said, "Oh, you get the 2011 pick," it wouldn't sound that terrible. But that's what it is. You're 3 or 4 years out. This is how it happens. Yeah. I'm just saying, if he wants to only go to the Knicks and just the Knicks, clearly, yes, that's the way it's going to happen. But we don't know that from him right now. We know that in the summer, that's what he wanted, and we'll find out over time. But to answer that question in this moment, I can't speak for Giannis and say, yeah, he only wants to go to the Knicks, demand go to the Knicks. There might be other teams. He might be so fed up with the situation that he says, fuck it, let's do it. Get me somewhere I have to leave here. I don't know. I just don't know the answer. Obviously, the Knicks are his number one choice.
Yes.
But there might be a second and third choice, and he's okay with it. There might be.
Miami is the one that everybody. And one thing I have to say also is that I'm so tired of everybody being so scared of the Miami Heat boogeyman. Like, the Heat are going to get him. It's not 2010 anymore, okay? The Heat got LeBron and Bosh to team with Wade, and then the last free agent since then was Jimmy Butler. And it wasn't even a free agent. It was a trade because the Sixers chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. So then Jimmy Butler was available. He said, I want to go to Miami. Like, it's not like the Heat get every free agent all the time, but everybody's always like, oh, the Heat are going to get him. The Heat are going to get him. The Heat are going to get him. Okay, they got Shaq and they got LeBron and Bosh, and that was 20 years ago, like 15, 20 years ago. Like, can we relax with the Heat boogeyman? The Knicks are the better team. Why would Giannis want to go to Miami in the first place? You're going to trade Hero and a bunch of guys, and then you're going to have a worse roster than you would have with the Knicks. If you trade Towns, who makes so much money, the super duper max, and I said this in my post as well, there's only a handful of guys that make the super duper max, and Towns, Giannis, and Anthony Davis are 3 of those guys, and that's why they can be connected in trade. And then you don't have to blow up your whole roster to get.
But what if there's another team that doesn't want to facilitate or take Towns? Then what?
Well, then I don't know. Then that's something that they'll have to figure out. That's
what if there's not a third team that says
then you can't do it. Then you walk away from the table. Then you walk away from the table and you just go for it.
And that's why I said there's a possibility that it happens in the offseason when things are a little bit different. Like. If nobody wants, and that's why I go back to, if they'd ever traded for Mikal, this thing's done.
Yeah, but if they never traded for Mikal, they don't make the run that they did last year, and they don't. They can't just sit around sit on their hands and wait 3 years for Giannis to finally demand the trade. So you have to make the trade.
They were off by a year, and it's hurting them a little bit. Maybe ultimately it doesn't, but it did hamper them a little. I mean, that's fact.
Right, but Mikal also made huge plays in the playoffs last year to clinch games on the road against the defending champion.
But he's also not Giannis.
No, he's not Giannis. No, of course not. But I'm saying, and the problem was that Mikal was on a team that was going to cost you a city tax. Like Mamdani and all these guys, they love the taxes and they love raising taxes. It was a city tax to get Mikal Bridges on the Knicks from the Nets. So there was extra picks involved. Also, the Knicks couldn't make these picks, and the Nets knew that because of their contract, their salary cap, they were capped out. You know what I mean? So they had to make these trades and trade some of these picks because they had less value in general. We talked about this 1,000 times. So I get it. But
that's my like, if nobody wants Cat, how do you make the trade? Like, how do you do it?
Somebody's going to want him. Somebody's going to want him.
Maybe
he's still really good. He's had a down year.
Alex, he's making a bajillion dollars. But
right.
He's making $1 billion, and the teams that are going to want him are teams that need to be going over the top. And then they're looking at what's happening in New York, and you go, I don't know. Doesn't work. Like, why is it going to be any different here? Same problem that happened in Minnesota is now reoccurring in New York. It's the same issue happening again. So I could be completely wrong, and there might be a buyer. He's a tremendously talented guy who can do unbelievable things on the basketball court. Right now for the Knicks, there's some chemistry issues with the stuff you talked about, which I want to get to something you had said there because I thought it was interesting. But there needs to be a team on the other side that wants to make that deal. Is there? We'll find out about that.
Yeah.
And you talked about Clyde Frazier and the little comments here and there. if that's what he is saying on TV, what is he saying behind closed doors? Like that's coming out publicly. It means there's a whole conversation that is happening behind closed doors, and Mike Breen saying it, and everybody is saying it. If it's going to sneak out that way,
and Clyde doesn't give a shit. So
if you're seeing this, if you're seeing this, if he's saying this publicly, what is he saying privately? And there was one play in particular, and I know it's not this huge play, but to me, I'm like, this is a big deal in a weird way. Is what then he went when I think it was the Sixers game where Towns goes down and he's it was an and one, and he's kind of making some noises on the floor, and Hart's there and he's trying to pick him up. And you could see the disgust with Josh Hart. Like
get up.
Come on, dude. Get up. It reminded me with my daughter who's about to be 3. And I'm like, enough of the whining.
I know you're fine. Yeah.
Like, I know everything's okay. Like, this is BS. And that to me was like a very subtle, but really interesting point, because you could see his disgust. Like that was in real time, like in his mind's going, give me a fucking break. Let's get up and let's keep going.
Right. No, definitely. Between that's a good point. That Hart situation and Clyde, who doesn't care, who's just saying what everybody's feeling. And, nobody wants to say it because guys like you said, like Breen or Tyler, I forgot his last name, who does the game sometimes. And he does the radio with Monica McNutt, and they're not going to say it because they want to keep their job and they don't know if Towns is going to be around the long term. Like, they don't know, but Clyde just doesn't give a fuck.
That's right. He's earned it.
Yeah. He's had enough. And he's like, get up. And Hart's like, get up. And Hart doesn't hold back. He's the one who gives you the keys to the castle all the time, So I just feel like in general, the Towns thing is over. Either if it's at the trade deadline or this offseason. And like I've been saying this whole time, though, even if the Giannis trade doesn't happen, the Knicks still have a chance to win a championship this year, and that's all that matters as a fan. And Giannis trade, I think, will happen, but the Knicks have also won 4 in a row right now. The Knicks have also looked really good over the last couple of games. Towns has been Towns. But they've been playing really well recently, and they're not just beating bad teams. The Raptors were tied with them in the standings. You know what I mean?
They beat the Thunder. It's a great
without McBride and Mitch on a second night of a back-to-back.
It's a good win. Very good win.
It is what it is. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it's a very good win. I mean, in Philly, who's a weird team, but if they ever got their shit fully together, it could be very good. Right. And the Raptors, who were streaking, they beat Oklahoma City earlier. Those teams have now kind of all compiled together with the Celtics, the Knicks, the Raptors, and the Cavs, who have been very good, have been the best team in basketball really over the last couple of weeks.
Right.
They've really risen in the standings and are only a game back, I think, of the Knicks right now. All of those teams are sort of jumbled for 2-6 with Detroit with the 5.5 game lead in the one spot. But you have all those teams sort of jumbled, and see what happens when it all shakes out in the regular season. My opinion on it. It's about what happens in the playoffs. It doesn't really matter, particularly if you're the 3s. I don't think it matters anymore if you're the 2 or the 4.
You got to be advantage.
All these teams are so equal.
Yeah.
It's not like, and it's not early where you're like, I want to avoid the Warriors in the second round that were just, you're not going to win. I want to avoid Shaq. Like, it's not like that. You can win. So I don't think the seeding is as important. Obviously, the home court does make a difference. But if you're going to win in the playoffs, like, you're going to have to go win on the road. That's why the Pacers beat the Knicks last year. They got that game 1, and the rest was kind of back and forth even. So you're going to have to get that. On the Nets side, another loss last night to Denver, 107-103. The Nets have had this weird all their losses have been the same. It's 2 types of losses. They get absolutely crushed like they did versus the Knicks, like they did versus the Clippers, where it was just horrible. Or they play really competitive, good games and blow leads at the end. It's unfreaking believable. And I'm now fully on board with these. They need these losses. I'm rooting for it. I hate to say it, but if you're 12 and 34,
or you're like, if they lose, it's like, all right.
If they lose, it's a good thing. They're 12 and 34. They're 3 games back in the loss column of the 1 seed or the worst record in the league. And at this point, it's like you got to root for player development and you got to root for losses. You're too far into this to not go that way. Nolan Traore continues to be impressive. He had a couple games because he was sick, but another good showing last night. No Yegor Doman, but he had a nice game versus the Suns. And how about pushing Dylan Brooks off of I forget who he pushed him off of, but Jaeger pushing Dylan Brooks and all hell broke loose. I think as a Net fan, you love to see that, like showing some toughness against a guy that's been pretty much an asshole in the league.
An agitator. Yes.
And an agitator. So
Yeah.
I think that's it for the Nets. Like, keep losing, keep developing. And for me, keep Michael Porter Jr. And once you get into these games at the end of the season, you rest them. And I know it's a bad thing for the league, and I know it's a problem for the league. You had a really good point about the Wizards not playing Trae Young, but there's no point to do it, because you have to look out for what's there in the future. I think for the Nets, keep him. Don't trade him unless you're blown away with something. And then you have him ready for next year. Hopefully you have a top pick. And I feel a little bit better about the Nets potentially winning the lottery when I found out the news yesterday that the lottery will be on May 10th, which is my birthday. Oh. So if I'm watching the lottery on my birthday, you better believe they're going to fucking win it. There's no way that's not happening. I feel confident about that.
No way that's not happening. I think you just jinxed it there. That was it.
They are going to win the lottery if it's on my birthday. Come on. Like, what are the chances?
Well, your birthday's around when the lottery drawing is. I mean, it's a pretty good chance.
I guess. You know? I guess. I don't know the history of it, of the date exactly. It's always in the second round somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea. But,
come on, I've never had it on my birthday. Well, that's not true.
I'm not worried about lotteries anymore, man. So I have no
I am, and this is it is a Nets and Knicks podcast, so I got to talk about it.
I'm saying that's why I don't know. I'm kidding. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's what is your max? Like a realistic, obviously you'd trade Michael Porter Jr. for Giannis, but I'm saying what is your realistic max that you would say, okay, trade him? Like a realistic thing. Like how many picks? What would you get back?
It depends on who the picks are coming from and where. Like I'm not
you're obviously gonna get back players that you're gonna buy out and get off the team, right? So
I don't want at this point Detroit's first round pick this year late. Like who cares? Why? That player's not going to become what Michael Porter Jr. is. The chances are he is not. It would have to be later round picks. Like if it's a Detroit, it's got to be further down the line,
right?
It's got to be multiple versions of them. It's got to be a contending team later,
yeah.
Right? Or else there's no other way to do it.
Like an older team, yeah. So like in 2 years, that unprotected pick could be something. Like I don't know.
I'm just
like that, but
there's not going to be an offer that they're going to get that's going to make me happy. They're just the Mikal thing has. I think unfortunately, and I play into it too, like it's changed the way you view how trade should be. Like that is not normal.
No,
Trae Young just got traded for nothing. Mikal Bridges got traded for 5 picks and a swap. Don't forget that. Like in 2028, this would be great. But if somehow the Knicks have a worse record than the Nets, we can swap that pick. Now, unlikely, but
it could be injuries. I mean,
you never know.
Injuries could happen. The Knicks could
turn into a 6.
Somebody blows their ACL, and that's it. You know what I mean?
That has changed the way people view things. There's not going to be an offer that's going to make me happy. The guy's 27 years old. He's at an all-star level. He put up 38 points last night. He's a player that can win on a championship team. Do not default deal him because you want to get future assets because it's not in the timeline. The timeline changes fast. Yeah. You win the lottery. Let's do it.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Why they should trade for John Morant. Why the Nets should trade for John Morant.
Well, Morant's got a lot of things that make him a little more like if you trade for Giannis, then let's get Morant and we'll take our chances.
Right.
Well,
I'm just saying if the Nets trade for John Morant,
and he's not the greatest guy.
Trade for John Morant for pennies on the dollar. Sit him out, like you're saying. Say he's hurt his calf, like you want to do with Michael Porter Jr. Tank for the year. The next year you get a lottery pick. You have Michael Porter Jr. You have Jaeger. You have Powell. And you have John Morant, and then you have a squad. Like I mean, I don't understand. You get rid of Claxton because these other bums.
Because there's no guarantee that Morant can play. He's never playing.
I mean, it's going to be it's going to be like one of those players that's. I've used this example before in a bad way, but like Randy Moss coming from the Raiders when he was on the Raiders, he was on the Vikings all-world Randy Moss, and then he goes to the Raiders. People forget about this little stint on the Raiders, and everybody's like, he's finished. And then he goes to the Patriots, and they go undefeated. You know what I mean? They have the best. You know what I mean? So I think they went undefeated. They lost to the Super Bowl.
Well, no. I'm just saying Morant to Moss. Randy Moss was a Hall of Famer before he even got to Oakland or wherever they were playing at the time.
Was on his way to a Hall of Fame career before he had all these issues.
It's not Randy Moss level stuff.
No, but that's why I said it's not the perfect example. I'm just saying it's going to be like, let's say Rasheed Wallace, where he's just a misunderstood guy and then gets to a team that gives him all the tools to be successful, and then he's successful. Like John Morant has so much freaking talent. And I think he's a moron. Like I'm not.
People are scared of it, Alex. They're running a business. Like they're running businesses.
It's true.
And they're scared of what it could do. And
especially
I don't
after the
remember who said
stuff.
But like New York City's a big city, man. Like you can get in trouble in New York. I mean, it just
he can also blend in too a little more than when he's in Memphis and he's like the main character in the entire city.
Sure, it's a city of celebrities and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, who are you? When you come to New York and you're in Memphis, you're, besides Elvis, he was the most famous person there.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, all right. I have to wrap up a little bit soon, but ask me the
okay.
Nets,
out of the 5 Nets rookies, who has the highest stock right now, Mike?
I love Nolan Traore. I think they got something with this guy. He was the first of the Knicks pick that they had. His ability to get into the paint and create for others, I've really liked. He can't shoot right now, which is a problem. Not a problem, but it's something he needs to develop. I'm excited about Nolan.
Okay. And fun fact, we learned on the Knicks broadcast when they played the Nets that Drake Powell is actually cousins with Hubert Davis, ex-Knicks player Hubert Davis, which is very cool. I don't know. I just wanted to say that. And Powell was the guy that I liked the most out of all the Nets players, out of all the Nets rookies. I'm like, oh, Powell has some swag. And why? He has some Knick blood in him. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, Hubert Davis was a Net.
He's a Knick. He's a Knick draft pick. He's a Knick. Nobody thinks of him as a Net. He wasn't a Net.
People think of him as a Tar Heel. They don't think of him as a
now
Net.
they do, yes. Yeah,
even before that.
But he was a Knick. I mean, he got the foul, in the Bulls, whatever, and the whole thing. If he played in this era, Hubert Davis, he'd be a borderline all-star. He was an amazing shooter before his time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, he was a good player.
But and gun to your head, Knicks win a championship or not?
Do not.
I still say yes. I'm saying yes. Still going.
What would make you change that?
Injuries. Because I think that this team is still equipped to get at least the Eastern Conference Finals. And once you're there, I mean, there were 6 games away from the championship last year, and they're the same team, essentially. They got to dump Yabusele, who's been a bust. You know what I mean? They have to dump all these guys and whatever. But we'll see what happens. A lot can change in a week. We'll do another trade deadline show soon. So I got to do this a quick show. But people like the half-hour pods, I think, a little better.
It's time.
They're quicker. It's easier,
Yeah.
There's also not a lot to talk about, because there's a lot to talk about, but it's the same shit over and over. You know what I mean? We have new stories, but it's the same story, but new wrinkles, but it's the same story. That's all.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 297. Thank you guys. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we will see you next time, which will probably be around the trade deadline. We'll see what happens. Alex, have a great Friday, and I'll talk to you later.
And last comment, Modelo Poppy, been saying that since before the Giannis rumors happened. With or without him, we can win a championship with what we have. Damn right, Modelo.
I want to say I just have one. I think the Knicks can't win the championship. Oh, thank you. You do agree with everything.
Modelo Poppy. I agree with everything Mike just said.
I think the Knicks are a horribly run franchise. I think they have the worst fans in the NBA. These are real
comments. Yes.
I think that their fans don't deserve a championship. Thank you for agreeing with everything I say. Bad Weather Fans 297. See y'all later.
Have a good